This carjacker was trying to get away on a bicycle when he got knocked down by a police car, just like this robber who got chased by a naked homeowner in the middle of the night. These thieves, confident in their skills and the arms they bear, found themselves in situations they never planned for, ultimately ending in their arrest or sometimes death. Watch what happens when thieves get more than they bargained for, starting with this. Phone store showdown. This beanie-wearing thief doesn't know it yet, but he just picked the wrong store to rob. Pretending to purchase a phone, he walks into the store and strikes up a conversation with the owner, but then, out of nowhere, pulled out a gun and handed a bag to the owner. Not wanting to escalate the situation, the store owner hands him a phone for his troubles, but he wanted it all. Believing that there must be a safe in the back room, the thief leads the owner to the other side of the store, where he finds nothing but another security camera capturing his face. Moments later, the two emerged from the back room, and the store owner began to pack the display phones into a sack, but everything changed when the thief took his eyes off the store owner while he packed the money from the register. Seizing this golden opportunity, the store owner launched a brutal attack on the thief, and soon they were both squabbling around in the store. After struggling for a few moments, the gun ended up in the hands of the store owner while the thief tried to escape through the back door. The bad news? That wasn't an exit, so the thief still had to come back into the store. At the end of the day, the thief had to escape without any of the phones he stole or even the gun he brought with him. Thanks to the CCTV footage, he was soon apprehended and slammed with some serious jail term. But while this victim managed to defend himself, this diner got help from a hero and heroine on special duty. Believing he'd seen an easy target, this would-be thief punched an old diner having a quiet meal at a restaurant in California. He then picked up the victim's wallet and walks away confidently. But before he could escape, the restaurant owner runs after him, punching, kicking, and finally subduing him on Hollywood Boulevard. As other bystanders gather around, the man's girlfriend also appears on the scene, and together with another onlooker, picks up the loot the thief was trying to escape with. But even though the thief kept trying to get up, the restaurant owner was able to pin him down until the cops arrived. If there's anything this thief has in common with the next guy, it's that they're both not the sharpest tool in the shed. We don't know why this guy thought it was a good idea to ransack a car in broad daylight, but it obviously wasn't going to end well. After picking up a couple of items from the car, the robber gets on his getaway bicycle and begins his escape. Unfortunately, his plan was foiled after a police van showed up and a slow chase started. It didn't take long for the cop to finally knock him off his bicycle, giving him a free ticket straight to jail. But what happens when an audacious robber finds himself in the middle of a midnight madness? This guy probably thought he'd found an easy target to steal from. You can see him showing no signs of urgency as he tries to cart away valuable tools from a stranger's car. But just when he thought he could just walk away with the loot, out comes the owner, dressed only in shorts, but determined to apprehend the thief. As soon as he sees the owner running towards him though, the robber quickly drops everything and makes a run for it. This didn't stop the owner though, as he continued chasing the man down the streets. Safe to say he won't be breaking into anywhere for a while now, just like these guys who went straight from the store to prison. When these thieves showed up to steal from this cosmetics store in Pennsylvania, nothing could have prepared them for what was about to happen. Earlier that day, the police had received a tip that a vehicle connected to several robberies at Ulta stores was on its way to the location, so they decided to send officers to stake out the store. Just as predicted, the thieves showed up and fell right into the hands of the waiting cops. They probably won't be needing those perfumes in prison. But while the cops aren't always available at the exact moment, sometimes all you need is a night on a shiny bike. While most people would simply give up and surrender their valuables to thieves, this guy was willing to do anything to get his bike back after it was stolen. You can see him speeding on another bicycle before ramming straight into the bike thief. The video, captured by a bystander, shows the men attacking the thief with so much anger before picking up his bike and warning off the would-be robber. As he tries to leave, the man's partner shows up on a bicycle as well, and both began threatening the thief, who couldn't do anything but watch them leave with their property. Not everyone wants to be a hero though. Some are just lucky enough to be rescued by the drive-thru. CCTV footage recorded at this restaurant shows the moment a robber walked in with a gun, hoping for a quick cash out. The situation was going just as he planned. The clerk was scared for her life and was filling the bag he provided with money from the cash register. Watch what happens when she hands the bag over to him. You can hear shots being fired, and at least one causing a disturbance close to the clerk. It didn't take long for the thief to get knocked to the ground by a bullet, although he still managed to walk out alive, just like this guy who ended up in a game of fastest fingers first. When this armed robber walked into a liquor store, gun in hand, he had no idea he was about to come face to face with veteran John Lewis Alexander. As soon as he brought out his gun to intimidate John, the trained veteran pushed his hand back and in one swift motion brought a gun right to the man's chin. It was at this point that he realized that things would not go as planned, so he decided to kick Plan B into motion. Backing off like a coward, the man tries to escape before getting shot, and no doubt, he was quickly picked up by the police. When the clerk isn't able to stop a robbery though, they can bank on the thief getting tackled by the security guard. Although it's company policy never to tackle an escaping thief, this woman wasn't about to let this guy walk out with a free portable speaker. As soon as the shoplifter reaches the door, he suddenly gets challenged and tackled by the female security guard, who's obviously hell-bent on bringing him down. A struggle ensued between the two, forcing other witnesses to join in and retrieve the stolen item. As soon as she managed to get back up though, the lady went out to warn the thief from ever coming back. Shortly after this clip went viral though, the guard was contacted by a female football team. Maybe she could make some money with that brute strength. Speaking of strength, watch how this officer brutally tackles target thief. This guy must have felt so unstoppable trying to walk out of a Target with 2 free televisions. Thankfully, one of the staff had quickly flagged down an officer and informed him about the robbery in progress. Watch as he takes off as soon as the officer arrives and how the cop kept running at him with full force. Within mere seconds, the man had been brutally tackled to the ground while the officer waited for backup to arrive. Looks like today isn't his lucky day, just like this lady who got locked in a vault. What you're watching is a jewelry heist in progress, although it appears this thief didn't take her robbery courses seriously. The woman, appearing like a top-class client, walked into the jewelry store like any regular shopper. Immediately, the store owner brought her into the most secure part of the store, and the two went straight to business. Apparently, the woman was trying to purchase rings worth around $7 million. The only problem was that she was hoping she could get them for free. Watch as she wraps the package, puts it in her bag, and brings out another similar package filled with fake rings. According to the store owner, the woman was so nervous that you could see her hands shaking. After realizing that the thief was just trying to play a fast one on him, the store owner decided to snatch her briefcase. But after she put up a fight, he decided to lock her inside the vault. Not long afterwards, the cops arrived, and she was arrested. She wasn't only the only one who got locked up though. These two guys had it even worse after a robbery gone wrong. What's worse than a failed robbery? Getting trapped in a store while everyone outside films you. When these two men entered the phone store, the clerk on duty first suspected that he was getting pranked, but that changed when one of the guys pulled a gun on him and forced him to the back where the phones were kept. Seeing that they were armed and extremely dangerous, the clerk decided to cooperate. However, at some point during the robbery, the man started suspecting that he was trying to run away, but even after the robbers threatened to kill him if he ran, the clerk still found a way to escape through the back door into the office of a travel agency nearby, where he and the staff on duty finally escaped outside. Back at the phone store, one man outside decided to pull down the metal gate, and that was when the drama truly began. At first, the two robberies tried to find a way out, but they soon realized that they were totally locked in, and while all of that was going on, a couple of people had gathered outside the store, taunting the men and filming them. Out of impatience, one of the robbers even tried pushing down the gate with his body, but that also failed. At the end of the day, the men were arrested and sentenced to 5 years in prison. Maybe he could make friends with this other robber who got caught in the act. Watch as this thief tries to force his way into this home while the homeowner is at work. What no one told him was that the man who owns this house had installed a security system. As soon as he got an alert that someone had trespassed on his property, the homeowner got into his car and sped to his house. This was the result of his encounter with the thief. Look how battered and beaten up he looks now. It's safe to say he'll probably be taking a break from his life of criminality, especially since he's going to prison. You could say the same for these two robbers who got locked up in a Costco. After trying to shop at Costco for free, these two robbers got the entire store to themselves. The only problem was they couldn't get out with the merchandise they'd stolen. While trying to find a way out through the back door though, they suddenly fell right in the hands of the police. You could see the shock on their faces as they realized this was the end of the road. Burglary gone wrong. As you can see in this video, this guy was trying to burgle this house, but little did he know that he was being watched by the homeowner through the camera. Giving up after several attempts, the robber turned around to leave the premises, but it was right then that the homeowner came out and confronted him with a gun. Since the thief was also armed, both men soon found themselves in a face-off while the homeowner asked the guy to put his gun down so they could go inside to talk about the incident. Surprisingly, the homeowner decided not to call the cops or press charges, but that doesn't mean other thieves were as lucky. No way out. At exactly 11:50 a.m. on the morning of April 17, 2017, a robber confidently entered the Latino Cellular store in Houston, Texas. This wasn't his first time here though. After all, he had robbed the place on so many occasions. Upon entering the store, he asked the cashier to pull out all the cash in the store. This was where things got interesting, because instead of obeying the robber, the smart cashier turned a deaf ear. Not minding the cashier's attitude, the thief went ahead to pack all the available cash in the store. However, while he was busy doing that, the cashier ushered the other customers out of the store and locked the guy up from the outside before calling the police. After stealing to his satisfaction, the robber then realized there was no way out for him. He tried everything he could to get the door open, but it was all to no avail. Frustrated, he even tried throwing himself at the door and even shot the doorknob, but nothing seemed to work. Finally, left with no choice, he accepted his fate and started begging for his life. Guess that's what happens when robbers get outsmarted by the victims. It takes a lot of confidence to pull up a robbery in broad daylight. Nobody understands this better than Nicholas Brown and Markeel Hayes, two men who decided to stage a robbery in LA on July 23, 2021. You can see their target having a conversation with his girlfriend when the robbers pulled their car over to attack him on the spot. While trying to scare him off with their guns, the victim suddenly pulled out his gun and fired at them. Without hesitation, the robbers scattered and began running for their lives. The escape was so urgent that some were even able to make it back to the car before their getaway driver zoomed off. But even victims who don't own guns sometimes get saved by hero SUV driver. On the street of Januário Zingaro in São Paulo City, Brazil, a couple were seen taking a walk on the roadside when two guys suddenly appeared out of nowhere on a motorbike, attempting to rob them. Little did they know that karma had caught up with them. While the robbery was going on, a man driving an SUV spotted them on the scene, so he targeted the thieves and hit them hard. You can see the very moment when one of the thieves got his leg broken while trying to escape the scene. The guy with the broken leg was later arrested at Campo Limpo Paulista Hospital, where he was receiving medical attention. According to a statement written by the 32-year SUV driver, he claimed that the same guys had tried to rob him earlier before they found the couple, so he was basically out for revenge. Speaking of revenge, this next footage is the perfect example of when robbing a marathon police officer goes wrong. This robbery attempt took place on a bus at a bus station in China. In the video recorded by the busy security system, you can see a middle-aged woman holding her baby get robbed of her phone. At first, there was an attempt to catch the thief, but he managed to escape, believing the robbery was successful. However, that's where things got interesting. It turns out the woman in question was a well-trained police officer and a marathon athlete. As soon as she managed to hand the baby over to her husband, she started chasing after the robber. Thanks to an effective and standby camera across the street, all of this was caught on tape. The chase lingered for a while until the thief exhausted his strength. This was when the woman finally caught up with him and pinned him down. The people around soon gathered to help her hold the man down until he was delivered to the police. That's what you get when you mess around with a police officer. But sometimes the best way to take care of a thief is to deliver a flying kick. Most robbers avoid victims who know how to fight, especially martial artists, but this probably didn't know the kind of person he was trying to steal from. While pretending to be passing by, this robber couldn't stop staring at the bike displayed in front of the store. Without raising suspicion, he checked and confirmed that that bike was not secured, believing he could execute the theft without any interruptions. But as he mounted the bike to steal it, the owner sprinted outside from within the store with a flying kick. With one swift motion, the thief was knocked to the ground and left with brushes. Thankfully, the man was able to recover his bike before it even got stolen, just like these hero clerks. When these two guys first walked into the store, the clerks believed they were regular customers, but it soon became obvious that they had a hidden agenda. You can see one of them silently walk behind the clerks and subdue him. The second guy then goes ahead to grab all the cash in the register. While at it, the clerk managed to release himself from the other guy's grip and they started throwing punches. Seeing that the plan was going sideways, the other guy fled from the scene, leaving his friend behind. The clerk would later get a helping hand from his co-worker, and together they pinned the robber down until the police arrived. These guys didn't see the attack coming, just like the thief who got caught unaware. Just like the two guys we just talked about, this guy was also seen entering the store like he wanted to pick a few things. Looking extremely calm, the thief managed to hide his awful intentions until the last minute. After reaching the counter, he asked the lady behind the counter to hand over all the money they'd made for the day. Of course, the lady wasn't about to get into a struggle with a guy holding a gun. While clearing the cash at the counter for him trembling, she managed to press the panic button without the guy noticing. She also stalled for quite a bit, because she knew the guy wasn't getting away anyway. Immediately, she she was done clearing the register, the police arrived on the scene. As soon as she saw them enter, she fled straight into the safety room to avoid being held hostage. After playing a little game of catch, the robber was later apprehended. Bear spray to the rescue. Watch as this group of thieves walked into a grocery store and started filling their bags without paying a dime. At first, the store owner didn't try to fight them as he was outnumbered and could have sustained serious injuries, so he left them to whatever they wanted while he patiently prepared his weapon. As soon as he realized they were distracted, the owner attacked them with a bear spray and chased them out of the store. The attack was so fierce that the thieves could not even fight it. You could see them falling over each other as they tried to exit the scene. Before we go on with the rest of the video, here's our subscribers' pick for today. As we explore what happens when thieves get more than they bargained for, this particular case comes to mind. In this shocking footage, you can see a man attacking a would-be robber with his motorcycle parked nearby. How did this man and many others on this list gather enough courage to attack their assailants? Could it be the adrenaline rush from encountering a threat, or do some people just love to fight thieves? What would you do if a person pulls a gun on you? Share your thoughts with us in the comments. Now let's get back to the rest of the video. The Avengers. These cousins were on spring break, hanging out at a gas station when two robbers pulled up with a gun. Surprisingly, none of the men were fazed by the attack, as one by one, they began piling on the gunman. Within a matter of seconds, one of them had grabbed the gun, giving them an upper hand and forcing the gunman to retreat. Even when the other robber tried to intervene, the men quickly rushed at him, beating both him and his friend up before they fled in their car. This merciless bat swing. Two guys were seen entering a store to carry out a robbery. One of them could be seen holding a bat. After entering the store, the guy with the bat slammed it on the cash register to cause a scene and chased the other clerks away so that his other guy could get behind the counter and empty all the cash. As the other tried to get behind the counter, one of the clerks pushed him to the floor while the other clerks got into a fist fight with the guy holding the bat. After managing to retrieve the bat from him, one of the staff began swinging at him. He later managed to chase the thieves out of the store, and they had no choice but to run. Sometimes people are just ready to defend their properties, by all means necessary. This man walked into a store covering his face, so it was obvious he wasn't here to buy anything. But things would soon take a dramatic turn as the woman he met in the store wasn't willing to part with the money. After a series of arguments, the situation turned into a physical fight. Surprisingly, the woman was able to overpower the thief, dragging him to the corridor and stripping off his cover. After wrestling himself free, the thief tried to escape through the exit door. However, the neighbors had been alerted, so they also gave chase after him. Sometimes even smart thieves get caught, especially when you mess with the wrong person. This guy must have thought he'd won the lottery after breaking into the car of a construction worker and stealing his things. Unfortunately for him though, he was caught at the scene. He was then tied to the construction pole so tight that he could not escape no matter how hard he tried. In his defense, the thief claimed he was only checking out the car, not trying to steal from it. Guess he'll be telling that story to his pals in jail. The old switcheroo. In this particular case, the store owner can be seen having a conversation with someone on the phone when this guy entered demanding that he drop whatever was on him. Little did he know that the store owner was fully prepared for this moment. He dropped his phone on his desk, then he pulled out his gun and pointed it at the thief. Caught unaware, the thief had no choice but to surrender. The store owner then left his desk and gradually approached the thief. He then proceeded to subdue him, keeping him still until the police arrived to take him away. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.